Hi, and welcome to Love Muscles Live. We come to you every Friday right here from our main. I have an echo. Right here from our main headquarters in Omaha, Nebraska, right in the middle of it, which is where our heart is, right? But this is Love Muscles Live, and this week we are discussing curiosity and why curiosity is so important to our relationships. My name is Mike Sansone. I'm your Love Muscles coach. I've just designed a course that I'll tell you about a little bit later called Build Better Love Muscles. What are love muscles? Everybody asks me, what's a love muscle? Well, the love muscles that we have are the things that we do and how we show our love, not only for ourselves, but for others. Things like patience and kindness, our listening skills, our awareness. Um, I said patience, so thank you for being patient with me. But these are all love muscles that if we don't exercise them, we're gonna find out that some of these muscles will atrophy. And this includes things like humor, um, curiosity, which we're going to discuss today. And if you don't atrophy some of these muscles, but if you don't use them, it could strain a relationship. There's a lot of metaphors that we can use about love being a muscle, and I hope that yours is strong. So we've got some things to share with you today. Uh, Boy, if I can figure out, this is a brand new tool for me. It was the first time last week, so I'm going to put up where I'm from, and please put in the chat where you're from, so we can know where people are chiming in from. Thank you for coming. So let's talk a little bit about. I have a whole bunch of notes here. I'm not going to read them all, but it'll help me stay square. I tend to take rabbit trails sometimes, and you never know what you find on a rabbit trail, especially if you have imagination and curiosity. Which, by the way, if you put imagination and curiosity together, you come up with imaginosity, right? Just like you thought, right? Imaginosity. But today we're going over curiosity. And I think it's important, and this happens every week to me. For the last 6 weeks, I've been focusing on one love muscle a week. Um, Last week it was calm, and I think calm is a very important muscle. This week is um, curiosity, and next week is awareness. And the more I look at awareness, the more I think maybe that's a foundational muscle. So I really do believe that curiosity, though, is one that a lot of us look to revitalize our relationships, whether that's relationships with friends that we haven't seen for several weeks, or with our partner, our spouse, or even our children. What happened to my relationship there? Sometimes curiosity or the lack of curiosity can be a reason. Curiosity will help you show interest in the other person. It prevents complacency or stagnation. It allows you to continue to learn about the other person. So that's one of the reasons I think that curiosity is so important. And children have a great deal of curiosity. They have wonder in their. I mean, you could see it in their eyeballs. They just like, what's that? How did that happen? I want to know more about that. And that's the kind of look, that's the kind of voice and attention with curiosity that if we have with the people we love, that can really revitalize a relationship. The other thing it does is it helps you avoid assumptions. Now there's so much information coming at us. If your partner or your kids come home and they're trying to tell you a story, but you're busy with email, you're busy with text, you're trying to catch up on the scores. Um, our attention is pulled in so many different directions. By stopping all that outside stuff and paying attention, with the one you love. It's like that old song, love the one you're with. When you can do that and just focus on what they're telling you, not on how you're going to reply to it, just pay attention to them, not attention to you. Don't try to figure out what you're going to say. Try to figure out what they're saying and why. So not only do you prevent complacency, but you avoid assumptions. You create deeper intimacy. We'll talk more about the different types of intimacy in a couple of weeks. But you can be intimate with your kids. Intimacy isn't always physical. There's emotional, and there's just a lot of ways you can be with somebody with curiosity. You show respect and value. With curiosity, I think you're telling them you're important to me. I want to hear what you have to say. Um, and I think that's important. When you share with somebody else how important they are to you by stopping everything else and focusing on them, that says a lot. That shows value. And it keeps a relationship fresh. If you've been with somebody, like your kids, you're with them, what, 17, 18 years. And even though you watch them grow and you see them change, um, and some of it's pretty drastic, if you're with a partner for 20, 30, 40 years, it should never get boring. It's sort of like that story about we can't really cross a river twice. And that's simple to understand, right? Once somebody goes across the river, um, they change on the other side, whatever they were going to do. Maybe they went shopping and now they have stuff to bring back. Maybe they had an experience and now they changed them a little bit. Plus, the water that was in there when they crossed the river is now downriver. And when they come back to cross it, it's not the same water. So, not the same person, not the same water. What do you think happens with our partners after 20 years, after 30 years? They've changed, and we should applaud that change. We should encourage that change because that's growth. When I was a kid, my parents would sometimes take me to get new shoes, but I don't want new shoes. But your feet are outgrowing those shoes, your growth, and you change, and change is growth. So, as the people we are partnered with, or the people we are friends with, as they change, we should encourage that, enable that, and be curious about that. So, if you already believe you know somebody, I'm not sure if you're going to have a fresh relationship. If you start finishing their sentences when they're telling the story, I would just exercise your patience muscle as well as your curious muscle. Let them finish their sentence unless they ask you for help. Like, what's that word I'm thinking of? If you lose interest in their experiences, what kind of message are you sending them then? I go back to the kids. Their exploratory curiosity. I mean, it's like they're looking for something. They're digging deep, trying to find out what's going on underneath. Um, and I think we need to have that exploratory curiosity in our relationships, in our conversations. Um, if somebody comes up and says, I think I'm going to change my ways, I'm going to do this now. Well, aren't you curious how they came up with that thought? What made them decide that thought? And there's a difference between curiosity and inquisitiveness. I mean, there's curiosity shouldn't be an investigation. If you look at the guy on the left, I don't know if he's curious. I can see curiosity in the face on the right, but I don't know if I see curiosity on the face on the left. There's more like what you talking about, Willis? Where'd you come up with that lame idea? That's not curiosity. Curiosity will support somebody where inquisitiveness can pretty much pull your curiosity muscle. So make sure you're curious. Make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you're interested. Ask open ended questions. Like, instead of saying, "Hey, did you have a good day?" That's great. Fine question, but I think we can punch it up a little bit. Like, what was the most interesting thing that happened to you today? Or what did you do to help somebody smile? I mean, these are curious questions that are empowering and enabling. And if they don't have an answer today, they might have an answer tomorrow. Here's another picture. This lady, she's interested. She's interested in what's being said. You could almost see the wonder and the questions on her face. She's leaning forward and leaning in. This is really good, curious listening, I think. Don't you think? Um, it's important that we embrace a beginner's mindset. Because if we come to a conversation that somebody else is having with us and we think we know it all, we're going to start worrying, or not worrying, but maybe focusing on delivering our own answer rather than listening to what they're saying and coming up with an open ended question. Challenge your assumptions. This is a key for curiosity. If we start assuming, work at challenging your assumptions and explore what's going on in their life. Pause before you respond. And who knows, maybe you come up with a better question. I hope you can hear me okay. I sometimes start talking softer as I go. I'm curious as to why I do that, but that's maybe another video. So, curiosity in action. Make sure that you ask. So how does that feel for you? Or tell me more. What led you to this perspective? Maybe check in. Say, how's it going? Are you having a good day? What are you influencing today? What's becoming important, and how can I help? These are curious questions. And if you get in a disagreement, rather than trying to win the argument, get curious about the other person's needs and feelings underneath what's going on. Because then maybe you become teammates rather than opponents, right? So that's one of the great things about curiosity is you can build stuff together. And here's another picture. This person, this young woman, is listening intently, and maybe even with wonder in mind. So it's important that when you listen, don't get ready to speak. Get ready to maybe ask. Get ready to pause. And I think some of the best things to say when you're having a conversation is just, interesting. How did you come up with that? It's important that we know that in long term relationships, we often forget to wonder. Curiosity isn't just for dating or new friendships, like, hey, where are you from? It's a secret to staying fascinated with the people we love. And shouldn't we be fascinated and captivated with the people we love? I know some people say, well, if I ask a bunch of questions, they're going to say, what's wrong with you? Well, I've had people say that to me. I say nothing. I'm just interested. I'm fine. I like to know you better. In fact, I asked somebody the other day, what's one thing that I've known you for a long time, but what's something I don't know about you that you want to say or you want to share with me? And they didn't answer right away, but the next day they came up with something, and it was interesting, and I'm glad they told me. Tell me more is a phrase that is almost magical. If somebody's complaining about something that happened with their day, or something you did, just say, wow, tell me more. I want to get to the bottom of this so we can work on this together. That's important. Curiosity definitely shows that you care. You don't need to understand, but showing interest in someone and their inner world is an action, it's a verb. Really ask them what lights up your day, what's weighing you down, and then just listen. It's a great thing. These two people, an adult and a child, I bet they're related. They both have that curiosity DNA. And that kind of curiosity, that kind of interest really grows love. I want to talk to you about the DNA of our love muscles. I still have a lot of people tell me, I don't have any patience. And this week I've had people tell me I don't have any curiosity. It's just not in my DNA. Well, that's why curiosity is a muscle. On every Saturday, I make a list of book recommendations on Medium, and I have a link at the top that if you're not a member, you still can read all the book recommendations. Um, but do some work, do some homework. Look, we go to the gym on leg day. Why can't we go read a book about curiosity on Curiosity Day? And shouldn't we have uh, exercises for every kind of muscle? Well, one thing we can do is we can get a Love Muscle workbook. Every week, this week being Curiosity Week, I put out a Love Muscles workbook. It's a premium workbook, there's a link in the description below about how you can get a copy of your Curiosity Love Muscle book. It's full of text-based learning, brand new content that does not appear in a Medium article or in a YouTube video. It might appear in book form later, but right now it's a workbook that will be included in the online course, but it includes these are two of the 4 or 5 exercises. I forget how many with the Curiosity book, but there are exercises with each muscle. And these workbooks are included in our online course, Build Better Love Muscles, also with a link down below. It's a premium course, $4.99, and there are monthly payments available. So that's always available. Just go to learn.buildbetterlovemuscles.com to find out more and sign up if you want to at that point. So let's see. What else do you want to talk about with curiosity? I believe that with kids, curiosity builds connection. And when we swap correction for curiosity, especially when they do something or they think something's great and you think it's boring, even though they're 10 and you're 40, be curious because they're curious and it's about to be taught out of them. I'm going to go on a rant here for a second. I know a lot of teachers. I used to work in education. And one thing that really gets me about education is they're always saying, you need more answers. Aren't we, as students, we're trained to have the answers. But really, as students, as humans, shouldn't we always be looking to ask better questions rather than have the answer? Man, I wish we would learn better questions, try different questions, and guess at the answer. I'll pause for a second and let that sink in. But instead of correction, let's go for curiosity. Instead of saying, "Why'd you do that?" Try, "What were you hoping was going to happen when you did that?" See the difference? There's correction or inquisitive type of questions, and there's curious and what happens if type of questions. I'm all for the curious, and I love curiosity. Even at work, want to build better teamwork? Get curious before you get critical. Ask about their motivations, their barriers, and even their preferences. Curiosity builds bridges. Assumptions burn them. I'll say that again. Curiosity builds bridges. Assumption burns them or breaks them. Curious people make others feel seen. Curious people make others feel seen. Think of the last time someone asked you a thoughtful question that really allowed you to explore. Didn't it seem like a warm light was shined on you like a spotlight? You almost hesitated to say anything. Be that warm light. Shine it on other people with curiosity. One of the things that I've done with love muscles is I've split all the muscles that I've written about into four sections: connection builders, character strengtheners, heart expanders, growth and joy activators. And curiosity is under connection builders. These muscles help us form and strengthen bonds. Recently, we had communication. Next week is awareness. So it seems like I'm focusing on connection builders. Um, a lot of people are always looking for better connections or new connections. Well, curiosity and communication, awareness, imagination, these are things that kind of bring people closer together. And that's what curiosity is. There it is right there. And how do I get myself back? Am I back? Okay. Um, so, and curiosity can almost instantly, I think curiosity and humor can kind of calm a conflict down quickly. Um, a conflict will come up and tensions will rise. And if we pause and ask ourselves in our head, what else is going on here? What's below the surface? What's causing this tension? And even ask, is there something else going on that I don't quite see? Curiosity will invite empathy. If you pause and become curious, put your curiosity hat on. Was there a cartoon character with a curiosity cap? Let me know in the chat. I have the chat over here if you want to call me out or call me in. Either one. So, one thing I put up today on a couple of social media channels: curiosity welcomes and judgment wounds. When someone shares something vulnerable, respond with openness, not analysis. Try something like, what's that been like? It's a soft landing in a hard world. And I just put that out on, I forget which social media. So on Saturdays and Sundays, I write a couple of, I don't know what to call them, shorts. They're not video shorts, but they're like 3 or 4 lines long. And I put them on a Substack or Instagram. And it's not to try to get any responses, though I welcome them. It's more to just show that I am an active participant in the world, even though I never leave the house. No, I do leave the house every day. Um, in fact, I'm going to Washington next week. I don't know why I told you that, just in case you were curious. Curiosity, I guarantee, will keep relationships from going stale. Routine isn't the enemy. Disinterest can be an enemy or an opponent. Ask something new today, even if you've been together for years. And that's what I did the other day with a friend. Tell me something I don't know about you yet. What's your favorite pasta? Mine is rigatoni because the sauce gets trapped in that shell and it's like a little tube and it just tastes better. And the pasta's a little bit more thick, just in case you were curious. Curiosity can build emotional safety. If you want someone to feel safe with you, and don't we all, be curious, not corrective. Ask with kindness and listen without interrupting. That's how walls come down. And that's how to build more safety. Vulnerability requires safety and trust, and curiosity without being inquisitive can help do that. And wonder brings us back to love. Curiosity might reawaken what routine kind of dulls. When you stop looking at someone as predictable and start seeing them as unfolding, that's when the magic returns. Assumptions might be faster, and in this day and age, fast is what we want, but curiosity is a deeper dive. Most conflicts aren't about what happened, they're about what we assume the other person meant. If you want deeper relationships, ask more questions. Be less sure you're right. Curiosity is not a passive love muscle, it's a relational intelligence in disguise. Curiosity is relational intelligence in disguise. Take the time, don't make the assumption, and be curious. Do you mind if I take a sip of water? My throat is kind of dry. Thank you. You should have some water too. Curiosity can help relationships grow. Judgment might end a connection, but curiosity can extend it. If you feel a relationship getting stale or complacent, that's when you bring out your curiosity and you ask a question, not a hard question, just just a soft question. You think you know your partner, your friend, or even your sibling, your coworker? You probably don't. Again, people evolve, and so should your questions. Next time you catch yourself judging, and I know I used to be a very judgmental person, and I finally got rid of it, and curiosity helped me get rid of it. Um, Pause and ask, what don't I know about them? I was in a doctor's office just this morning, and it was pretty busy for early morning. And there was a lot of people, and of course I smiled and say hi to everybody. Hi is my favorite word, but a lot of times I was curious. And one guy, there was a song playing overhead, and I think it was that I don't know the name of the song, but it was the one that said Ooga Chaka," and his leg was bouncing, and when the drum beat, his leg moved differently. And I leaned up and I said, "You really like this song, huh?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a good song. How could you tell?" I said, "Because you're basically dancing sitting down, aren't you? Are you a musician?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a drummer." So it's a good thing I was curious. Now, I'd like to think I'm brave more than bold. Years ago, I would have never asked that question. Um, and still, being an introvert, I'm not fond of those type of questions, but I also write every day about love, so I got a reputation in my own mind about it. So I asked him, and we had a good time talking about it. Um, I want to talk to you about falling in love. First of all, I believe love is a decision. But how can you fall in love again without meeting somebody new? Ask your friends or your partner or your kids something you've never asked them before. What's a memory you've never told me about? What did you dream of becoming when you were 10 or when you were 20? How has your life worked out differently? Just ask questions like that and with love in your heart. And when they answer you, just listen. You don't have to come up with a solution. And if you see me look over here every once in a while, it's because that's where the chat is. And I think if you said something, oh, there's a button over here too where I can see the button over here saying hi. Let's see if I can do it. See, this is a new tool. I'm using StreamYard. Oh, I got to do it over here. See, I just learned something. I went exploring. Oh, hi. Can I tell you why hi is my favorite word? I used to work in senior living, and it was a four-story building. There were actually a couple of buildings uh, by this company called Hawthorne Senior Living. And one afternoon, I'm walking and it had a theater inside and an activity room. And somebody was at the theater looking at the marquees, seeing what movie we were showing that night. And I said to him, hi. And he's in a wheelchair, very introverted. And he looked at me and he said hi and he started crying. I could see it wasn't boo hoo hoo, but it was a little bit of tears. And I said, are you okay? How can I help? He goes, nobody said hi to me all day. Well, this was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said hi to him at breakfast. And I said hi to him at lunch. And I don't know if anybody else did, but I know I did twice. Yet he did not remember that anybody said hi to him. So that told me that I should never hesitate in saying hi. So if we come across each other and I see you in the morning and then later on I see you that day, I'm going to say hi. I don't even use the word again. Hi. And I will say it every time. And that's just me, just in case you're curious. So let's see what else we can talk about. I wrote something a long time ago in a land far, far away. And there were two components to your curious muscle, and now I can't find them. But I know one of them was asking, and the other one was listening. And this works great when you're first falling in love with somebody. You might have a gazillion questions, and as time goes on, it it basically goes down to zero because you've asked them. Well, now what do you talk about? Find something else. I wrote, as a listener, you are a dance partner in the conversation. And as a listener, you sometimes need to lead the dance by showing your curiosity. So if you and I were waltzing, one of us would lead the dance, hopefully me. I used to dance on stage, I was a pretty good dancer. Um, but sometimes you might want to lead by asking a question. And a listener asking a question kind of elongates the conversation, stretches it out, digs deeper in a very soft, subtle way. And I think that's important with questions and full face listening. A lot of people say active listening. I guess that's a good term. I use full face listening. And I think I can show more curiosity by using my whole face, my eyebrows, both up and down, my lips, things like that. I don't see anybody throwing tomatoes at me in the chat, so that's pretty good. So what else do you want to talk about? Do you have any questions on curiosity? Let's see what other kind of buttons I can push here. Oh, once again, hey, how about that? A public service announcement by Mike Sansone. Grab your premium copy of the Curiosity Love Muscle book today. The link is in the description below. And what else can I show? Find out more about our Build Better Love Muscles online course at learn.buildbetterlovemuscles.com. And you can read about the breakdown of some of the modules. We put things together in those core muscle groups. And then we have handbooks and text-based. We have presentations. We have a whole bunch of different types of learning, and we're going to be adding to those all the time. So let's see what else I could talk about. We might only have a 40-minute conversation today. So I think I talked to you about connection. Curious connection can lead to emotional intimacy. You build trust. You feel seen and valued. You make the other person feel seen and valued. Again, it's a great way to navigate disagreement, a way to avoid assumptions. You'll continue to grow. Your growth will be vitality. You'll have more vitality in the relationship. In essence, active curiosity is a cornerstone of healthy and thriving relationships. It transforms passive coexistence into an ongoing journey of discovery, empathy, and mutual growth. This is one of the lessons I have in the Build Better Love Muscles. I printed it out, and I don't know why. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is I have 3 lessons for each of the love muscles, and that's also in the course. So if you have questions, you can always email me at mike@mikesansone.com. I think I just made a banner. I did. Mike@mikesansone.com. And you can email me, and I'll usually get back to you within a 24-hour period and maybe a lot sooner. But that's always available to you as well. So next week is the 4th of July. We're still going to have a live stream, and that I'm looking at the calendar. Next week is awareness. So I think we're just about done for today. If there's no questions, I'm going to say thank you very much. Mwah. I appreciate you coming, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me, and stay curious. I usually say stay contagious and courageous. But now I'll say stay contagious and courageous and curiouser too. Thank you. I love you.